guys, I'm Caroline Zook.
I'm Jason Zook, and we run Wandering Aimfully, an unboring coaching program for intentional online business owners.
Welcome back to our series, Growing Through It, where we make over a community member's business and help them come up with ideas on how to improve their business foundation in this uncertain time.
In this case study, we're going to introduce you to Andrew, who runs a digital marketing company called Hotkano.
Hotkano!
Yeah, you have to think that the entire time. He's a B2B company, but if you're someone who gets clients, this case study should really help you clarify messaging, your services page, and really just help you get more clients.
All right, let's get into it.
And of course, feel free to just think Hotkano the entire time we say Hotkano, because it's fun.
Like that.
It's fun.
All right, meet Andrew. Andrew is the owner of Hotkano, which is a digital marketing company. And Andrew's experience is in marketing for big global brands, but he left his corporate marketing career to build his own marketing company that he could be proud of. So that's a little bit of background. And his goal is, of course, to get more client leads beyond just referrals, which is the main way that he gets clients now. P.S. Before we get into Andrew's case study, just as a reminder, we do have our own 5-step process checklist that you can download for free. And it takes you through every step that we're going to go through in this case study. So check the description below in order to get to the blog post where you can download that checklist for free. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of Andrew's case study, we'll give you a little sneak peek of where we're going to end up. So our top 3 recommendations for Andrew are going to be to rethink the client buying process and lead generation, to invest heavily in content and case studies, and then to shift his website messaging from who we are to how we help. And here's a little sneak peek of the after for his website that we're going to show you in step 5. So let's just get right into it. Of course, we start off with the brand foundation. This is our 4 Qs. We're going to go over the 4 questions of who, why, what, and how. So to get started, the who question is in relation to his audience. So from his website right now, I can see right there on the homepage, it says a trusted digital marketing company for small and mid-sized businesses. So we have an idea of who his audience is. The only thing that I would recommend is to try to narrow this down even a little bit more if possible, because a small and mid-sized business could be like a mom and pop shop, retail shop on the street, or it could be a solopreneur online. So what type of business? So for Andrew, I would say if I was going to fill this out, I would say, who does your business help? Small and mid-sized local businesses. This is because I reached out to Andrew and I said, give me a better idea of who you work with. And I think he mentioned to me a multi-state towing company, a local law firm. It was sort of this idea of businesses in his area that don't have a lot of time to focus on digital marketing strategy. And that's where he comes in, right? Because he can be the expert. So I would say they are serving their customers in their immediate community. They work hard, but don't have the time or bandwidth to invest in marketing strategy, even though they want to grow. So this is kind of building out that ideal client avatar. And my word for that was local businesses. He might have a better word for that. But again, just narrowing it down that little extra bit is going to help him speak exactly to the heart of who his ideal client is. So let's move on now to the why. This is his mission. Why does your business exist is really the question we're answering. So as I move down his website, I can see stop wasting your marketing budget on broken agency promises. That gives me an indication a little bit. I can also see this section here under not your typical marketing company. I can see he talks a lot about being transparent, being very like fair pricing, being kind of an answer to the normal agency model, which is what he has here with these big problems with the traditional agency, and then how he's different from that. So that gives me an idea of sort of the bigger purpose behind why he started his company. And that's a big part of your brand story. So we want to really highlight that. So for him, I would write down, why does your business exist? Hotkano's mission is to disrupt the traditional agency model by bringing accountability and transparency to marketing services and becoming the true partner that small businesses are looking for to help grow their business. And that's his why that he can come back to again and again, and also sprinkle throughout his website so that potential clients say, oh, that's something I can really get behind. Yeah, I have been burned by a big marketing company in the past, and he seems different. The third Q that we're gonna answer is the what. This is your benefit, or what benefit does your business provide your customer? And right here under this section, I saw, at our core is a fixation to accelerate company sales and increase long-term profitability. There you go, right there. That's what I would write down as the ultimate benefit. Hotkano helps businesses grow their company sales and increase long-term profitability. And you really want to make sure that that benefit is clear throughout the website. And then finally, our fourth cue, how does your business deliver that benefit that we mentioned? And this is where it gets kind of interesting because on his homepage, as I scroll down, I see under services, these 8 different circles: business strategy, marketing, website. So I'm kind of wondering to myself, okay, I know he's a digital marketing company, but now it's kind of getting muddied with all these different things that he does in his business. And so it's hard for me to really nail down how does he deliver that benefit if I'm thinking that as a client. And so I'm gonna go into this further in part 2 of this series, but we really want to figure out a way to make this a lot more concise. As an umbrella term, I just said custom digital marketing strategy. And then I actually, to narrow that down a little bit, I said specifically technology, content, and creative. And I'll show you how I kind of came to that, to take this list of like 8 different things with even like a bunch of things below those 8 different things and to really wrap it into digital marketing strategy, technology, content, and creative. So as a recap of our brand foundation, which is where we start, the audience we're gonna go after is small and mid-sized local businesses. The mission is to promote transparency and accountability within the marketing agency world. The benefit is increased sales and long-term profitability, and the offering is custom digital marketing strategy. Okay, so let's dig deeper now into the product or service offering, which we talked a little bit about. We have on the website these 8 circles. Again, 8 different things within like 3 to 5 things listed underneath. If I'm a potential client, this is just a little bit confusing and there's not one thing that stands out to me to say, okay, Hot Kano does this. One hot tip is when you show a potential client everything that you can do, you end up coming off like you don't have an expertise. And you also make yourself very hard to stick out in someone's mind. So we want to narrow this down in such a way that if one of his potential clients was talking to one of their business friends and said, you know, I'm really looking for somebody to help me with marketing strategy, their friend would say, oh, you know, Hot Kano, I know Andrew, he owns this business, he does exactly that. Right now, it's all just like spread out in these different groups of things that he does. And so what I did was I reached out to Andrew and I said, okay, out of all these things, like what do you really go back to time and time again to help your clients with? Give me a list of those things. And so he wrote back a bulleted list of all of these different things, which is actually narrowed down if you compare it to the previous slide. And so I thought, okay, if I have all of these different things, is there a way that I can group them into categories to make it easier to describe? And so what I ended up with is something like this. I pretty much saw that they fell into 3 main categories: marketing technology tools, so I'm calling that tech. And the reason that that is just its own category is because this is kind of its own entity, but he said that's what he does a lot. Is they're obviously not up on the latest marketing technology tools. These are things like software products that can help you grow your business, like CRM systems and things like that. So he's always recommending tools that they can use to grow their sales. So that's its own category. Then content, so inbound marketing, search engine optimization, all that good stuff. And then creative, so he can help with website design and, you know, your photography and things like that. So I kind of took that list and broke it out into these categories, and then anything that didn't fit those 3 categories I put in this section as other. And you'll see how I transition that into a new services page that really more clearly communicating what his capabilities are as a business. Instead of all of the big circles, now it's going to give us the ability on his services page to write, these are our key services: marketing technology tools, inbound and content marketing, website, and creative direction. That's enough for someone to say, okay, those are the things that they're really good at. And it starts to look a little bit more confident as a business because I can see he has an expertise, he has a clear direction, rather than, oh, we can do everything in the kitchen sink. And so I'll show you this later on at the end of the case study, but I redesigned the services page and it allowed me to, at the top, say in that green box, our core capabilities boil down to these 3 categories, each with the potential to grow your sales and lead to long-term profitability. So again, we're stating the benefit and we're saying these are the categories of services that we provide in order to get you that benefit. And that allows us to then break each one of those 3 categories down into its own little descriptor and say like, okay, these are the things in that category that we do. And then if you really want to say you have these additional capabilities that don't fit into those 3, you can have a little section at the bottom that says, hey, by the way, yes, we can also do these things, But again, you're leading the client through a story and you're showing them that you're confident and that these are the things that you're really good at. And it allows it to stick a lot better in their brain rather than them reading those 8 circles of all these different things. Okay, now that we've narrowed down our services, let's talk about just the process of hiring Hotkano. Right now, what's really interesting is if you go up here on his website to the top pricing and you click pick a plan, the way that he's positioned it now is in these 4 different pricing plans, and it's basically like a monthly subscription to a marketing plan is the way that he's laid it out. And actually, if you scroll all the way down, you see these images where I can almost click into one and purchase it right there from the website and say, hey, I want the standard marketing plan for $2,500 a month. Put me on a subscription. And so I asked Andrew about this and he said, yeah, I wanted to be all about fair and open pricing because marketing agencies typically aren't that way. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if you could buy a marketing partner like you would buy a Netflix subscription? And I thought that is a really cool and different idea and it's a way to stand out. But if you've been experimenting with it and you haven't had a lot of luck with people buying a plan like this straight through the website, it's probably time to pivot and try something else. Like there's a reason why certain things work better, and it's just because I don't think someone's gonna go and wanna buy a $10,000 marketing partnership the same way that they add something to their cart on Amazon. It just doesn't feel the same. Like you want that human connection, you want that trust built before you're gonna sign an invoice for that much money. I would recommend, as much as it might pain him because it's the more traditional route, to go into a much more traditional kind of, here are our packages, reach out to me and do the invoicing and everything on the back end, not like a Netflix subscription in this way. In the redesign, what I recommended was moving towards a more traditional kind of process for hiring him, but I created an investment option section and I basically took his 4 plans and narrowed it down to 2 because I think even 4 is really overwhelming and you just go, even though it might be clear to him, it's a lot to read through and it's a lot to say, okay, which one of these is right for me? I really think that most people are gonna probably start off on the lower tier, right? Because they haven't worked with him before and they wanna just do a dry run and kind of see how it goes. But I still think doing a more expensive, bigger package is good for price anchoring to say like, okay, here's our regular package and then here's our bigger, more expensive package. Even if most people are gonna go with the first one, because there's that other more expensive package to compare it to, it kind of softens the price sensitivity a little bit. That's why I've put them into the 2 packages. I mean, he can say what he wants in each package and also he can price it the way that he wants to. I just said in those bullets showing there's a different number of sessions and a different number of goals, or this is something that he had in his comparison chart for the marketing plans, just something to show the differentiation between the 2. But then you wanna say, okay, reach out and we'll help guide you on what package fits your needs. This is where the more traditional path kind of comes in. You're gonna have people click that button and that can be an anchor down to a contact form that just says, hey, get in touch with us and we can start the process. That is the big overhaul I would make to the general buying process of his services. Okay, now that we have the offering kind of nailed down, let's talk about marketing strategy and customer journey. In other words, what is the marketing bridge to get someone to buy your product or service? How does someone go from stranger to customer? Those of you who've watched the previous episodes will know that we like to use this metaphor of the island and your castle being your offering, and your marketing bridge are kind of the steps that you are leading someone through in order to go from being a stranger over on the mainland over to your island where your castle and your offering lives. If you want more background on this metaphor, definitely check out the first episode of Growing Through It. We go into it a lot more in depth. But the general idea is just to plot the journey that someone goes on from being just a stranger to becoming a client. Here's the thing about Hotkano's marketing bridge right now. He doesn't have a ton of content on the website. Because of this whole marketing plan buying process, here's what the marketing bridge ends up looking like. I'm not really sure how he's getting traffic at the moment, besides maybe referrals, but I do know that he is posting some stuff on LinkedIn. I think he has 2 articles and he's posting stuff on LinkedIn. So I'm just gonna say, let's say the people coming to his website are coming from LinkedIn. But then way over on the other side of the bridge, he's hoping that they just purchase a marketing plan straight from the site. And you can start to see that's a pretty thin bridge. I would say if we're being generous, there's maybe an intermediary step in between these 2, which is the person reaches out on his website through the contact form or setting up a consultation call, which he has told me people have done before. But still, even if that was the step, you can start to understand why we don't have a steady stream of clients coming in, because the bridge is just so thin. There's not enough steps in it to really build trust with someone to get them onto that bridge. So what I see as an opportunity for Andrew, a huge opportunity, is to create some of those intermediary steps and really get more people over to that offering. So how are we gonna do that? Well, similar to episode 1 of this series with Aman and her copywriting business, we are gonna recommend that he offer something of value in exchange for a lead's contact details. Because if you can get people on the phone and really explain what you can do for them, usually that's a really good indication of being able to convert them to a client, much more so than a website, right? But you really got to get them to be willing to get on the phone with you. And that's the big question. How do we do that? One way to do that is to experiment with this idea of offering something. In this case, what we recommended was basically a free marketing plan. So you would fill out this embeddable type form with your details, like your website and what your company does. And then Andrew would be able to create what we called, because hot Kano, what we call the hot list, which is basically just like 3 recommendations. So he could just quickly look at their website and say, hey, we definitely recommend updating your website. Here's how we can help you with that, 1, 2, and 3. Here's a marketing tool recommendation that, have you looked into this? This could be really great for CRM, X, Y, and Z, and then another recommendation. And he's demonstrating his expertise, he's delivering value to them, he's starting that conversation, and then hopefully he could get them on a call and convert some of those leads into paying clients. So if we think about that as an intermediary step and we add that to our bridge, we can see, okay, that creates a new touch point. And then a person could submit that. He could email the hot list to them, which is just the 1-pager, delivering value, offering to hop on a call. He could then get on a lot more consultation calls, and hopefully then people would purchase the marketing package, not just purchasing the marketing plan cold on the site. So that is the newer bridge. And then there's also an opportunity for a secondary bridge, which we call the more cold bridge. People who aren't quite ready to submit those details for the hot list marketing plan, he still has an opportunity to keep those people in his ecosystem. Let's say he was creating a lot more content, so they would get people landing on the blog post from Google or from social that he's sharing. And then if he had more of a newsletter strategy, he could get them to sign up for his newsletter. He could start sending out that newsletter, not even every week, maybe every other week. And then in those newsletters, having a link to say, hey, ready to set up a consultation call, that gives him a whole new stream of people where maybe they've been on the newsletter for 3-6 months, and now they're finally ready to take action and sign up for that consultation call. And now that's another portal into his marketing bridge and getting those consultation calls, which can lead to clients. Now, the big crucial piece here, of course, is really focusing on that content piece and really focusing on that newsletter piece. So let's move into part 4 to talk more about that. Let's now talk about audience building on the front end of that marketing bridge. So for those of you who this is your first episode, you won't know this, but we have a 3-pronged kind of audience building approach. It starts with your lettuce. We call it our content salad. So it starts with your lettuce or your foundation articles. This is 8 to 10 written articles on your website that are attracting search traffic. Then you have your fixins, which is kind of your second step. This is your consistent, authentic, ongoing content like a newsletter, but it could be something like a podcast or a video series. And then third, you have your dressing. This is your social media content. We call it your micro content, where you are sharing out bits and pieces of the other content to try to drive awareness and attention to those other pieces of your content strategy. Now let's dig into each part of this. So let's start with articles. I think this is such a huge opportunity for Andrew. Let's take a look at what articles he has on his site. So actually it was a little hard for me to find because I think he calls his blog Wave. I would definitely change that to blog because people don't know what that means if I'm looking for his articles. But right now he has these 2 articles on his site. That's a huge opportunity to write those 8 to 10 foundation articles so that if I'm a potential client, I can scroll through those articles, see how he has expertise that can help me. If you click into one of these articles, I mean, they're very thorough. They have great images. They're very well thought out. And the only problem with, for example, an article like this, abandon your marketing now and your company might never recover, is it's not really written for search. One thing that we would recommend is writing those 8 to 10 foundation articles that are specifically meant to attract the ideal client long-term. So what are the questions that his previous clients are asking him? What do they need to boost the sales in their business? How can you position yourself as that authority? Another change that we can make is to make the design of the blog a lot more readable. So as I was scrolling through that, you can see the text basically spans from the left-hand side all the way to the right-hand side of the page. And believe it or not, someone's eyes will actually get tired trying to go from that far to the left to the right. So by increasing the padding or the space, the white space around your text, you're gonna make your article a lot more readable, which means you're gonna keep people on your site longer. And then the last thing is to include multiple calls to action to the marketing bridge and email list. So once he has those articles written, you wanna make sure that you get those people onto the marketing bridge. So we wanna have a call out to the newsletter. So I'll show you that. But one thing I wanted to point out is this is his article now and kind of the layout of the design. If we increase the padding, like we said, and we make, let's say, the title a little bit more fit with his branding and stand out a little bit better, the whole article just becomes a lot more readable. So this is what that would look like. But another thing I want to point out is the title of the article is Abandon Your Marketing Now and Your Company Might Never Recover. This was a more timely piece, I think, about running your marketing in the times of COVID-19. Those aren't going to be things that people are Googling, right? So I'm not going to be someone who's Googling abandon marketing. I'm not going to be Googling never recover. Those probably aren't things. However, if we change the title to why it's a bad idea to abandon your marketing strategy in an economic crisis, at least we can try to attach ourselves to Googleable terms like marketing strategy, economic crisis. You always want to think about when you're writing your content, reverse engineer the title by imagining what your ideal client or customer might Google. Your article should be an answer to a question that they have. So you really want to think that through. Like you're always trying to leverage your content as something that someone could search and find your website. And then also, as we mentioned, we would want to add some sort of opt-in sign up in the body of the post to really try to get people on that newsletter so that if we do attract traffic from search, we're getting people into our ecosystem. All right, now that we've talked about the articles, let's talk about this newsletter a little bit. Andrew admittedly said he doesn't have much of a newsletter strategy right now, so no surprise that the sign up on his website right now is the very basic sign up to get Hot Kano's best and freshest content. I know those of you watching this have some version of this, of like sign up to get our updates. But again, you want to make that very compelling and give people a reason to sign up for your newsletter. For his newsletter strategy, I would recommend creating some type of, again, I'm putting myself in the shoes of his ideal audience. I'm a marketing person at this local business and I need something that's going to add value, but I don't have a lot of time because I'm in operational mode. What would be valuable to me? So I thought of something like small business hot tips every other week. And maybe it's just 2 paragraphs sharing with them a cool marketing tool that you've researched that could help their type of business, or short case study, just an idea of a marketing thing that they could try in order to boost sales. Again, you do that for enough weeks in a row and you start to build authority and trust with people who are on that email newsletter, and they start to go, Andrew knows what he's talking about, and I really want to implement these tactics that he's sending me every other week, but I don't have the time for it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and hire him so that I can get those real results. As of right now, I just put the sign up. Basically, I would put them on the blog post, I put them on the footer of the new website design, but if he got in the rhythm with it, he could definitely make even a bigger push to put this throughout the site. But my recommendation for him is to really focus on that warm bridge first and just get the newsletter going and stay consistent with it first. So again, just to recap, what we can improve from his newsletter strategy is the short 2-paragraph newsletter every other week, introduce a marketing technology tool that they didn't know about or a short case study, and to provide value by taking the time investment out of marketing for them and to build trust. The final piece of our content salad here is just social. I think the main place where Andrew shows up with Hot Kano is on LinkedIn, which I think is a great strategy for him to really try to connect with those local businesses, to do a lot more of it, start investing in delivering immense value to local businesses. So again, that whole like hot tips idea is just, here's a marketing tip, here's something you haven't thought about, and really become the marketing expert for local businesses and continue to plant that seed in their head so they can potentially work with him down the road. And then of course, when he does write those 8 to 10 foundation articles, start sharing snippets of those. One thing I really want to encourage Andrew to do with Hot Kano is to really beef up case studies, because he has worked with companies and he is all about being results driven and accountable to, in their partnerships, really getting results for his clients. And so the more that he can create some type of case study template on his site and share exactly who he's worked with, how he's helped them, that's really great social media content for LinkedIn as well. All right, on to the final step. Let's pull it all together with the website redesign. Here's the website as of now. The biggest issue that I saw with it, because it's a great website, it's very memorable, it's very clear in the way that he says things, but the biggest missed opportunity I see right now is that everything on the website is written from this perspective of, this is who we are. this is who Hot Kano is, this is what we stand for, which is always, that's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. It's better to be clear about who you are than not, but you can see it throughout like how our partnerships work. We're not your typical marketing company. This is the ways that we're different from a big agency. Why choose Hot Kano? It's all about us. What I would recommend to try and just boost this a little bit is instead of writing it from the perspective of who we are, try writing it from the perspective of this is how we can help you. So it's really about making the client the hero and focusing on their problems and how you can create solutions for them, and threading your story throughout that, but really writing it from the perspective of this is how we help you. So let me show you how I kind of did that. If you've watched our previous episodes, you know that we go through what we call the AppSosa framework. That's just a way of gathering your thoughts together before you go to redesign and making sure that you clearly have established the problem, who you're talking to, how your offering is the solution, the outcome you're gonna get for them, etc. You can watch the other episodes to get a firmer grasp on how we do that, or read the article where we go into depth on all of this. Here are some of the changes that I made to the Hot Kano website. So first off, the audience. Clearly identify what kind of business is that Andrew's marketing company is targeting. The only change we made there was just to include that word local. But then we also included the outcome that he's gonna get for them. So highlight the ultimate reason why someone would wanna work with this company. So we made the big, bold statement there. We help small and mid-sized local businesses improve sales and long-term profitability. And we made that in a bold orange color so a potential client can look at that and say, here's how he's gonna help me. And then a little bit smaller, we also included what I call a little preview to the solution, which is, what do you offer? Can I wrap my brain around that? I said custom digital marketing solutions, or as we talked about before, custom digital marketing strategy. This is the action. You want that somewhere kind of above the fold. You want, what is the action that you're trying to get someone to take? Even if they don't take it right away, you have a very clear place where they can do that. And our action for Andrew is gonna be that warm lead section of the page, all about the marketing plan. The idea is this would be a button that would be an anchor link down to that section where they could fill out that type form and get their free marketing plan. The next section is usually where I try to state the problem. So you really want to talk in the language that tells your ideal client that you understand what their issues and their pain points are. So make that really clear. I said, you're so busy working hard on your business day to day that you don't have the time to research and implement the latest marketing solutions to propel your business. So that might be a pain point that he can pick out about specifically his ideal client. That's not going to be a pain point that every business has, but his ideal business client is going to have that problem. And then you're positioning your services or your offering as the solution to that problem. So here are the ways that we can help you. Again, we're listing out those key services. So we're saying, here are the things we do really well. And then a link to the services page if they want to dive deeper on that. Let's move down the page there. Really, I wanted a section that plays up on this whole mission and differentiator of being a more results-oriented, accountability as a value digital marketing company. This is a cool way that you can combine that with also showing them the results that they're gonna get from working with you. I had this whole section where I really wanna play up the case studies. So if he was gonna be able to create those case studies as blog posts, this is where he could show the summaries of both of those with like really compelling testimonial quotes. Again, if I'm a potential client, I'm looking down, suddenly in this section, I now know that this is a differentiator, but also these are real things that he's done for clients. The sauce here would be playing up the differentiator of being results-based, and then we call it trust us, is show, don't tell. If you really wanna be results-oriented, then show those results. Don't just say we're results-oriented without actually showing a case study. And then finally down here, this is the big action section where that anchor link will come down to. It has the type form. This is where you would experiment with that warm bridge to try to get more consultation calls. And then we have a little secondary action here in the footer, like we talked about with the cold bridge to get to the newsletter. All right, guys, those are the big website changes. Let's just recap what our recommendations are gonna be for Andrew. We wanna get him to rethink the client buying process and the lead generation process, invest heavily in content and case studies, and then shift his website messaging from who we are to how we help. So let's do a little before and after reveal. That was before, and this is after. We've got our, I did go a little bit crazy with the volcano photos, but like he can do whatever he wants with that, but I just thought it was like a very memorable name, Hot Kano. We've got our case study results section, a little bit of social proof with previous clients. We've got our warm lead section that's big, bold, and green colors, walks them through the process, and then we've got the newsletter in the footer. Now, also what I wanted to show you is we redesigned the services page as well. You saw a little peek of this, but again, we're laying out those 3 categories of services, talking about the outcomes that we're gonna get. Let us be the marketing brains to your operational game. The idea is to break out each of those services into its own little section here to kind of dive deeper. And then after we list the services, I went into our process. I always think that's a good thing to include on a services page. It just leads the potential client through, this is what it's gonna be like working with us, this is what you get. He had this on his homepage already. I broke it down a little bit further, and then I included that little check mark under each one that shows basically the deliverables that you get for each of those steps. And then we have the investment options section. And the idea is under each service, you'd have a button that basically was an anchor link down to this section so that you're leading them through the process, right? Like put yourself in the shoes of your client and say, I'm reading about the services. Yes, I need that service. Check out pricing. You go to the investment options section, and then you can now reach out via the contact form in order to get the ball rolling on that. I also included the warm lead section on this page in case that was compelling to someone who was like this close to signing up, but I included it in addition to the contact form so that, again, you're giving people so many options. You want to make it as easy and frictionless as possible. All right, guys, those are our recommendations for Hotkano.
Alrighty, friend, we hope you really enjoyed that growing through it case study. Hotkano!
If this was helpful for you and you're like, I need to do that for my business, definitely check out our Unboring Coaching Program. You can head to wanderingaimfully.com/newsletter. That will get you on our newsletter list. You'll get tips every Monday, case studies like this. Put the link right there. It's right there.
It's also in the description. And if you like this video, you want more of these videos, we are hopefully going to do more of them in the future. So hit the subscribe button. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. It's like a button on YouTube where you get more of these things. It's cool. You can also hit the like button. You can click the bell if you want to get a delivery reminder every time we bring a video to you, to your door.
You can scrub the video back 1 minute into the future. I don't know.
What?
I was just trying to like add different stuff that you could do.
That's great. I love it. Yeah. Well, we hope you enjoyed this and that for the rest of the day, you just think to yourself, okay, no! Because Hotkano.
Because why not?